The Blue Room by Nafisa Rizvi is a feminist novel that uses magical realism to explore patriarchy, inherited trauma, and women's resistance within a traditional Pakistani aristocratic family. The story follows Zaib, a spiritually sensitive girl born in Shahi Manzil, a grand ancestral house whose blue room whispers memories and truths. From childhood, Zaib witnesses gender inequality, abuse, and hypocrisy, especially when religious and patriarchal authority is used to control women. Her forced marriage to Murtaza initially appears as another act of oppression, but the narrative reveals that Murtaza himself is a victim of extreme childhood abuse, showing how violence is passed from one generation to the next. Zaib's journey is not one of open rebellion, but of inner strength, empathy, and moral courage. She resists oppression through silence, compassion, and ethical choice rather than violence. The Blue Room symbolizes Zaib's conscience and insight, guiding her through moments of despair and reminding her that fate is not fixed. By the end, the novel suggests that healing is possible when individuals confront trauma, reject cruelty, and choose humanity over tradition, making the story a powerful critique of patriarchy and a hopeful vision of transformation. Zaib's journey in the Blue Room begins in Shahi Manzil, where her birth is surrounded by mystical visions, suggesting that her life will be unusual and spiritually charged. From childhood, she is highly sensitive, imaginative, and intuitive, often sensing emotions and dangers others ignore. Growing up in an aristocratic but patriarchal household, Zaib enjoys material comfort but faces gender discrimination. Her cousins receive better education and freedom while she is confined to domestic training. During this period, she also experiences sexual abuse, which she resists through imagination and inner strength, revealing her early instinct for survival. The Blue Room becomes her sanctuary, a symbolic space where walls whisper truths, helping her develop self-awareness, moral insight, and emotional independence. As she grows older, Zaib becomes intellectually curious, deeply connected to literature, Sufi thought, and spirituality, which shape her ethical worldview. In adolescence, Zaib's life takes a painful turn when she is forced into an arranged marriage to Murtaza, not for love, but to settle an old family debt. This moment marks the death of her childhood freedom, symbolized by her separation from the Blue Room. Her wedding is described like a funeral, and her arrival at her in-laws' house exposes her to a world of cruelty, silence, and control. Initially, Zaib feels emotionally numb and isolated, especially during her wedding night, which lacks tenderness and consent. However, as she begins to understand Murtaza's past, his horrific childhood abuse at the hands of his father, and emotional abandonment by his mother, her anger transforms into compassion. This shift is crucial. Zaib evolves from a passive sufferer into a moral center, choosing empathy over hatred while still resisting injustice. After marriage, Zaib's strength deepens through quiet rebellion. She challenges religious hypocrisy, confronts false spiritual leaders, and refuses to submit blindly to oppressive customs. Her emotional and spiritual endurance takes a physical toll, but she continues to protect others, especially vulnerable women. When she eventually gives birth to her daughter, this moment symbolizes renewal and continuity, not submission. Motherhood does not weaken Zaib. Instead, it completes her transformation. She becomes determined to break the cycle of trauma, raising her child with love, awareness, and freedom rather than fear. By the time she becomes a mother, Zaib is no longer just a victim of patriarchy. She is a conscious woman who understands pain, chooses compassion, and carries the hope of a better future for the next generation.